Good afternoon, grade 7s. We're going to go through another graphing question. In this instance, we're looking at what one would do if faced with a problem where you're given a graph of values and it says, what is the expression shown in the graph? Okay, so in other words, what linear expression does this graph represent? Now, we've talked about it in the past, but one of the most important first steps is to creating this, the table of values, your input and output chart, or X and Y graph, however you want to refer to it as. So now I'm just going to go ahead and read the graph and then input the values into my table of values. So the first thing to do is to look at the input. So when X was 1, what was the Y output value? And in that case, it was 5. So when X was 1, Y was 5. Next point, when X was 2, the Y value was 8. So when X was 2, the Y value was 8. And when X was 3, the Y value was 11. So when X was 3, the Y value was 11. The next step then is to determine what is the actual expression. And to do that, like in previous videos, the first step is to look at what the skip count is. In this case, the number that it's jumping is going up by 3s. And so that we know now that that is going to reflect our numerical coefficient. Okay, so we know that it's going to be 3 times the value of X. I'll put that in brackets. And it's going to be add or subtract something to get to the value of Y, or your output. So from here, we're going to look at how, oops, I'll just move that down, how we could continue this pattern by finding out what the expression is. So we take a look, we've discovered that yes, the numerical coefficient is 3, and the X value here, it'll be add or subtract something to get to the value of Y. And we're going to do that for at least the first 3. So we'll replace our input, or the X value of 1, and we're going to try to get to the number 5, or to the value of 5. So 3 multiplied by 1 is 3. How did I get to 5? Well, I would have had to add 2. Right? 3 times 1 is 3, add 2 is 5. Now, that means that we're going to propose that our expression is 3x add 2 equals the value of y. And we're going to try that for the first 3 values. Okay, so 3 times 2 is 6, add 2 equals 8. And finally, 3 multiplied by 3, or the input value of x, add 2. So 3 multiplied by 3 is 9, add 2 equals 11. This worked for the first 3 values, and therefore we can safely say that this is in fact the expression that represents this graph. So the question says, what is the expression shown in this graph? Well, the expression is 3x add 2 equals y. So to recap, how I did that was to look at those values in the graph, make a table of values, and then determine the expression by trying it out with 3 of the input values.